final chapter of the first canto, entitled The Appearance of Shukadev Goswami. And we see how Parikshit Maharaj has prepared himself for the final test, the departure of his. And what are the three vows he took? What three vows he took? What we discussed last time? What were the three vows that Parikshit Maharaj took? Yes, Ravindra?
Very Prabhuji, attached with the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and
No,
associate.
that is the aspiration, yeah. I'm asking what are the three vows he took to prepare for his departure? इतनी तो अंग्रेजी समझ में आनी चाहिए. बोलो भाई कुबेर, तुम सुन रहे हो तो कुछ समझ में भी आना चाहिए ना. कितना समझ में आएगा? जब बोलोगे तो समझ में आएगा. क्या वचन दिए, क्या प्रण किया सुखदेव गोस्वामी के आने से पूर्व ही परीक्षित महाराज ने?
यदि वो भौतिक जगत में आएंगे.
अरे छोड़ो या फिर वही बकवास कर. मैं पूछ रहा हूँ क्या बोल रहे हो क्या? मनोराम, यू आंसर.
Prabhuji, one vow was that he will fast until his death.
Yes. Before he can fast until to his death, what is important? What he said, what he is been benedicted with. So many people are dying every day. Millions are dying all over the world. How many are fasting? None of them. Why? What is the difference? What was the difference between others and Parikshit Maharaj? Pradeep? Quickly the answer should come. That means nothing has gone in the head or the heart. Dayashil Prabhu?
I'm also not able to remember, Prabhuji.
This is not a question of remembrance, this is a question of consciousness. Remembrance is there for those things which we forget. Who knows? What is the first admittance that he accepts? This is what we discussed from the last session. Nothing new I am asking. Adi Prabhu. Speak, just share. What is the most significant thing that he said? You don't remember because we are thinking we will never face the situation what Parikshit Maharaj is facing. Of course, we will not face the situation what Parikshit Maharaj is facing. We will not get such an assembly of all the great sages and the Raja Rishis and the kings and not the personality of Godhead himself, Parshurama. He himself appeared. Yes, Ramya? Boliye.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Parikshit Maharaj said that he was too much attached to family life, but it was the special arrangement of Lord so that the Shringi caused him.
Yeah, this is the point. This point can only be retained when that consciousness is there. If the consciousness is of attachment and trying to enjoy this material world, this point will never register in the heart. Why it is not registering the heart? Because we don't accept. Acceptance is not there. So how remembrance will be there? This is the most formidable point, he said. That the Supreme Lord has been very kind upon me, and this curse has come as a benediction for me, because he wants to detach me, and he takes a vow to detach himself from all the worldly connections, and he came onto the bank of the Ganges. And of course, there he decided that two more things very important, he said. One is that you said that he will fast till death. But before that, it is not possible to fast till that. Because unless and until one gets some relishment somewhere, how can he fast? Or how can the thirst be quenched? Now answer me, Manoram. Dayashil Prabhu. I think nothing of the last class is there in the heart. What to say of the head? Completely blank. You are, gasping in the book. You will not find it there. बोलो रविंद्र, किसी को नहीं याद है, मतलब इसका मतलब कुछ सुना ही नहीं, और सुना कहां से? क्योंकि स्वीकार नहीं किया है, इसलिए वो सुनना ना सुनना बराबर है. It is of no good use. I was hearing one lecture. One devotee was very nicely explaining. Well, there were two types of, communication when Bhagavad Gita was being recited. He said one was external, the other was internal. External he cited is Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. And internal is Krishna and Arjuna. You decide where we are. What was his vow? What was his wish? Wish and the vow both. First was he will be detached himself from the world. Second was, and the third was that then he will be able to fast. This conception, the philosophy, if it is not clear, it will never act. What was the most important aspect? One is detachment, the other is fasting. Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, yes.
Hare Prabhuji, Parikshit Maharaj desired to hear the glories of non-stop glories of Lord Krishna.
Yes, this is the most important. How he was able to detach himself, because he was able to attach to the process of hearing the glories of the Supreme. And because he was hearing, and that relishment that he was getting in his heart, he could say that I will fast from food and water till the time of death. This is what we have to accept, understand, appreciate, and acknowledge. This Gaur Purnima, they had a very special feast. I said, what was the feast? They said Mohan Rupa Prabhu gave 5-hour class. From 8 a.m. in the morning till 1 p.m. till the Aarti time. I was reminded of one incident that I saw in my life. When I went to Odisha, I told you, there it happened. 8 o'clock class. It was when the Aarti in the afternoon, the Raj Bhog Aarti came, then they had to stop. Gadaigiri. Gopalji deities. This nothing is recorded in our heart. It is taken a vow to hear the glories of the Lord. to detach himself. Why? Because our aspiration is not there. So how can it be remembered? Huh? They're actually saying that I don't remember because it was not caught in the consciousness. Consciousness is still covered. It is still shrunken. And what to say? I gave all of you the assignment. Who remembers what was the assignment? So yes, please go ahead. Ramya. बोलिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, to remember 16 verse.
Okay.
16 verse.
So you recite.
पुनश्च भूयात् भगवती अनन्ते रतिं प्रसङ्गाश्च तदाश्रयेषु महत्सु यां याम् उपयामि सृष्टिं मैत्री अस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः. Yeah.
Excellent. Our youngest devotee will recite. Amoha. बोलिए.
पुनस्य भूयात् भगवति अनन्ते रति प्रसङ्गाश्च तत् आश्लेषु मैथिषु यां यामपि मैथिस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः.
Glorious. Glorious. तुमको क्या मुस्कान आ रही है कुबेर? बोलो, एक लाइन भी बोलो. तुम ऐसा क्या कर रहे थे? कौन सा नोबेल प्राइज पुरस्कार जीत रहे थे कि तुमको टाइम नहीं मिला? प्रयास ही नहीं किया. प्रयास किया? प्रयास किया तो बोलो.
नहीं क्या बोल
बोलो. बोलो. बोलिए श्लोक. यहाँ क्या टाइम पास करने के लिए आते हैं? जब मैंने आपको बोला था कि याद करिए तो क्यों नहीं किया? क्या कर रहे थे आप लोग? प्रदीप, यू रिसाइट द वर्स.
Hare Krishna.
हरे
पुनश्च भूयात् भगवती अनन्ते रति प्रसङ्गाश्च तत् आश्रयेषु महत्सु यां याम् उपयामि सृष्टिं मैत्री अस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः.
Very good. So what this verse says? What is the translation?
So, Brihmara says first he offered obeisance to all the Brahmas. Then, if he born again in this, if he has taken again birth in this material world, so he will always in attachment with the Supreme Lord and all the devotees and the living beings,
Attachment to the devotees.
association of the devotees and
No.
all the friendly living entities.
Friendly relations with all the living. Very good. Very good. Who else has recited? Remember? I can see your new look. You got a haircut. Huh? बोलो बोलो क्विकली. गुरुकुल होता तो प्रसाद नहीं मिलता. याद नहीं हुआ तो इज नो प्रसाद. कुबेर, समझ गए? तुम यहाँ
किस
वीआईपी
प्रभु?
नहीं हो, समझ गए?
जी
अगर इस क्लास में आना है तो जो असाइनमेंट दूंगा करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो अपना जाके जहां मर्जी डोलो. कल याद हो जाना चाहिए, कल सुनूंगा मैं तुमसे.
यस प्रभु.
बोलो भाई डोलो मनी, दयाशील.
तो नहीं कर पाया याद.
कोशिश किया था, याद ही नहीं रहा कि याद करना है. चलो लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. Thus the king Maharaj Parikshit sat to fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planet praised the king's actions, and in pleasure continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat the celestial drums. Maharshyo va samupgata ye prasasya sadhu iti anumodamanaha uchu prajanugraha shilasara yad uttam shloke gunabhirupam. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaj Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, very good, sadhu. Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common man, but they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were all very much pleased to see Maharaj Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows. So, Rishya Uvacha. Navaidam Radrishi Varyachitram Bhavatsu Krishnam Samanuvarteshu Ya Hasanam Rajkirita Justam Sadhyo Jahur Bhagavat Parshu Kamaha. The sages said, O chief of the saintly kings, since you are one of the kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are all strictly in line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you have given up your throne. The first thing they appreciate, the sages are appreciating, is the detachment. It is not at all astonishing that you have given up. So this is what is expected. Why it is expected? Because he is coming in line of the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in line with Lord Krishna. What it means to be strictly in line of Lord Krishna? Is the Pandava strictly in line with Lord Krishna? If we go by family lineage? No. But how they are strictly in line with Lord Krishna? मानिनी माता जी फिर वीडियो ऑफ है, आधी बार ज्वाइन करती हो, आधी बार नहीं ज्वाइन करती हो, इतना इन अटेंशन के साथ क्या फायदा ज्वाइन करने का? बोलो बोलो, why it is strictly in line with Lord Krishna? How it is strictly in line with Lord Krishna? Yeah, there should
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, they were trying to follow Lord Krishna's
trying
instruction,
to follow. They were fully following. What do you mean by trying to follow?
following.
Yeah. They were completely dependent on Krishna. Whatever was Krishna's direction, whatever was Krishna's dictation, they fully followed. So they were strictly in line. It is not at all astonishing that you have given up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. Foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary posts they occupy are the highest material gain of life. And therefore they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that the achievement of liberation as one of the associates of Lord in his eternal abode is the highest gain of life. So this is in general. People are thinking about only the material nature or the material gains or the material post and position, even up to the time of death. The human life is meant for achieving this end. What is the end? Association of the Lord in his eternal abode. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Where he has assured, what are the verses? Prabhupada is saying in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. The Lord has assured. Where all he has assured? What are the verses? Yes, Devashik Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, जन्म क्रम च मे दिव्यम ये जानति तत्वतः प्रत्वाते हम पुनर्जन्म नेति माम एति अर्जुन.
Okay, good. What are the others? Quickly, only one reference. Prabhupada is saying in so many verses of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is a sorry. No, you have already answered.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरणे च मय्यर्पिता मनो बुद्धिः मामे विश्वासि असंशयः.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Who else? Don't know other verses, so important verses, so hundreds of times I have discussed. Very poor. Very, very poor understanding of Bhagavad Gita. No understanding actually. And where the aspiration will be there to go to back to Godhead. Aspiration will be to again come back and become a mosquito or a dog in the same house where we left. बोलो कमाल हो गया. There are hundreds of verses, if not hundred, and tens of verses. You don't remember even one. बोलिए प्रियंका, how are you blank?
न तद्भास्यते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं परमं मम.
Okay, very good. Good. Ramendra Prabhu? बताओ भैया, इतनी बेसिक चीज नहीं पकड़ में आई भगवद गीता से. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन कहाँ से आएगा? हेड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन कहाँ से आएगा? हार्ट ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन किधर से आएगा? पुरुषोत्तम आप बोलो.
तो सर्वधर्मानि परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
भगवत धाम नहीं बोल रहे हैं. हम सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा बोल रहे हैं. भगवत धाम नहीं बोला है. अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है. बोलो मनोरम. इतने इंपॉर्टेंट वर्सेस हैं, बार बार भगवान बोल रहे हैं. बताओ, इतना स्ट्रगल है, भगवद गीता बिल्कुल नहीं आता है. यस रम्या, बोलिए.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी अंतकाले च मामेव स्मरणम् उक्त्वा कलेवरं
यह प्रयाति समद्भाव नास्ति अस्ति यत्र संशय. वेरी गुड. यस, यू विल रीच मी. वेरी गुड. व्हाट आर द अदर्स? मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याधि माम नमस्कुरु मामेव श्रिय संशयम में. कितनी बार तो बोल रहे मामेव श्रिय संशयम में प्रति जना प्रियोसी में मयि आसक्त मना पार्थ योगम युंजम मदाश्रयम असंशयम समग्रम माम यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु मयि एव मना दत्सव मयि बुद्धि निवेशय निवश्यसि मय्येव अथा ऊर्ध्वं न संशय. You quoted this verse, Pradeep?
तस्मात् सर्वेषु
So many
कालेषु.
verses so many verses are there. Like hogs. The Prabhupada said in one statement, hearing like hogs will not give any benefit. We have to transform, we have to change. Hear with attention. Today I was in the morning giving the class, how Prabhupada wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. Amazing, amazing. Prabhupada wanted to give the 5 features of Lord Chaitanya on the God Purnima festival in Mayapur. So he started to read Chaitanya Charitamrita again, and he was struck with wonder with the first translation of the first payar. And how the most magnanimous form of Lord Chaitanya in the 5 features is there. And then he decided to stop Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, that was his lifetime project, the most dearest project. But that verse, that commentary of that verse struck Prabhupada so much in the heart. He was so much inspired and enlivened. They called the entire GBC and said, I am stopping Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is stopping Srimad Bhagavatam translation? But yes, because I want to give Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is it. As we go, develop in consciousness, as the purity become, these conceptions, these philosophical principles, it will register and it will strike us. We'll become captivated by them by our heart. Then we can know, yes, then we are moving forward. Because what is the difference between a devotee and non-devotee? A non-devotee has no devotional aspiration. He has no inspiration. He is never attracted by it. He is only attracted by ahar, nidra, bhaya and maithun. Nothing else attracts him. A devotee is not, he is repelled by all this. And he is attracted by what the sadhu is saying, what the scripture is saying, what the Supreme Lord is saying. Provided we are able to hear. And to be able to hear that, we have to become purified. Do you see the purification of Parikshit Maharaj? Please try to appreciate. And you see how the sages are responding. This is why the sages came. Because they wanted to witness the perfection of one who is to depart from this world. And that perfection will be displayed by Parikshit Maharaj. So no one wanted to miss that. And when they heard the glorious commitment and the vows of Parikshit Maharaj, they all echoed their approval or their pleasure rather. And here Prabhupada is talking about the foolish people who want to continue in this material world. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead is eternal abode is the highest achievement. Prahlad Maharaj was praying to Lord Narasimha, said, "Oh my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life. And I am not the least afraid of your presently ghastly, ferocious feature as Narasimha Dev. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone." This is what the sadhus say. This is what the sage like Prahlad is saying, that I am very fearful of this materialistic life. But what a materialistic say, that I am very delighted of the materialistic life. How piyo and much karo. This is the difference. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and I am being crushed by it. I have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life, and thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the summit liberation from this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experiences of the materialistic way of life. Advanced devotees have bitter experience of materialistic way of life, and a non-devotee says that he has sweet experience of the materialistic way of life. In whichever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the forces of my own activities, I have very painful experience two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted, a satsang. I have very painfully experienced two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the miseries themselves. So I have drifted from one point to another, birth after birth, and therefore I pray to you to give me shelter at your lotus feet. The Pandava kings, who are more than what Prabhupada's purport, the Pandava kings who were more than many saints of the world, knew the bitter results of the materialistic way of the life. That is why they are higher than the saintly people. Because even after being amidst all the opulence and the pleasures, they knew of the bitter results of the materialistic way of life. They were never captivated by the glare of the imperial throne they occupied. And they sought always the opportunity of being called by the Lord to associate with him eternally. Maharaj Parikshit was a worthy grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir gave up his imperial throne to his grandson. And similarly, Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir, gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmejaya. That is the way of all the kings in the dynasty, because they are all strictly in line of Lord Krishna. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glory of materialistic life. Prabhupada makes this sweeping statement. Thus, the devotees, not devotee, thus the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glare of materialistic life, and they live impartially, unattached to the objects of the false, illusionary, materialistic way of life. Sarve mayam tavad ihas mahet atha kalevaram yavad asu vihaya lokam param vijaksham vishokham yasyati ayam bhagavata pradhana. So these sages are calling Parikshit Maharaj as Bhagavata Pradhana. We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, that is Bhagavat Pradhana, foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit returns to the Supreme Planet, which is completely free from all mundane contaminations and all kind of lamentations. So they also made a vow. Hearing the vow, they were so inspired that you shall wait here to fast till the time of your death, and we shall also wait here. Till the time the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, returns back home, back to Godhead. Beyond the limitations of the material creation, which is compared to the cloud in the sky, there is Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky, full of planets called Vaikunthas. Such Vaikunthas planets are also differently known as Purushottama, Achyuta Lokaha, Trivikrama Lokaha, Rishikesha Lokaha, Keshava Loka, Aniruddha Loka, Madhava Loka, Pradyumna Loka, Sankarshana Loka, Sridhara Loka, Vasudeva Loka, Ayodhya Loka, Dwarka Loka, and many other millions of spiritual lokas, wherein the personality of Godhead predominates. All the living entities there are liberated souls with spiritual bodies as good as the body of the Lord. They have all spiritual bodies. There is no material contamination. Everything there is spiritual, and therefore there is nothing objectively lamentable. They are full of transcendental bliss, and they are without birth, death, old age, and disease. And amongst all the above mentioned Vaikuntha Lokas, there is one supreme lok called Golok Vrindavan, which is the abode of Lord Shri Krishna and his specific associates. Maharaj Parikshit was destined to achieve this particular loka. And the great rishis assembled there could foresee this. That is why they came, because they knew. All of them consulted among themselves about the great departure of the great king. And they wanted to see him up to the last moment, because they would no more be able to see such a great devotee of the Lord. When a great devotee of the Lord passes away, there is nothing to be lamented, because the devotee is destined to enter into the kingdom of God. But the sorry plight is that such a great devotee leaves our sight. And therefore, there is every reason to be sorry. As the Lord is rarely to be seen by our present eyes, So are the great devotees, the great rishis, therefore correctly decided to remain on the spot till the last moment. अश्रुत्या तदृषिगणावाचा परीक्षेत् समं मधुवचुदा गुरु चाव्यलीकं च अव्यलीक समं मधु अच्युत गुरु च अव्यलीकम अभस्त एनम अभिनंदया युक्तम शुश्रूमाना चरितानि विष्णु. All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Parikshit, desiring to hear the activities of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages. Samagata sarvatra eva sarve Veda yatha murti dharasti parste prishthe Veda yatha murti dharasti prishthe Nehatha namutra takashtanartha Rithe paranugraham atmashilam. The king said, O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here. Having come from all parts of the universe, you are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who reside in the planet above the three worlds. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do goods to others. But for this, you have no interest either in this life or in the next. Six kinds of opulences, namely wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, all are originally the different attributing pertaining to this absolute personality of Godhead. The living beings, who are parts and parcel entities of the Supreme Being, have all these attributes partially up to the full strength of 78%. In the material world, these attributes up to 78% of the Lord's attributes are covered by the material energy as the sun is covered by a cloud. The covered strength of the sun is very dim compared to the original glare. And similarly, the original color of the living beings with such attributes become almost extinct. There are three planetary systems, namely the lower world, the intermediate world, and the upper worlds. The human beings on the earth are situated at the beginning of the intermediate world. But the living beings like Brahma and his contemporaries live in the upper world, of which the topmost is Satyaloka. In Satyaloka, the inhabitants are fully cognizant of Vedic wisdom, and thus the mystic cloud of material energy is cleared. Therefore, they are known as Vedas personified. Such person being fully aware of knowledge, both mundane and transcendental, have no interest in either the mundane or transcendental worlds. They are practically desireless devotees. In the mundane world, they have nothing to achieve. And in the transcendental world, they are full in themselves. Then why do they come to the mundane world? By the order of the Lord, they descend to different planets as Mashiach to deliver the fallen soul. On the earth, they come down to do good to the people of the world in different circumstances, under different climatic influences. They have nothing to do in this world save and except reclaim the fallen souls, rotting in material existence, deluded by material energy. It's the last verse today. Tataschava prichayam imam viprache Vishrabhya Vipra iti Pritani yana sarvatmanam niyamanascha krityam shuddham cha tatra amrishita abhiyukta. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Very beautiful question. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. Sarvatmana mriyamanascha krityam. What is the duty of one who is mriyamanas? Those who are on the verge of death. And also for those who are in this human form of life. So tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. In this verse, the king has placed two questions before the learned sages. The first question is, what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? Duty of everyone in all circumstances. And the second question is, what is the specific duty of one who is to die very shortly? Out of the two, the question relating to the dying man is most important, because everyone is a dying man, either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of a dying man is very important. Maharaj Parikshit placed these two questions before Shukdev Goswami, also on his arrival, and practically the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, from the beginning of the second canto up to the end of the 12th canto, deals with these two questions. Sorry. Yeah. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of Lord Shri Krishna, as it is confirmed by the Lord himself in the last phases of the Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on his conviction, so that he might be able to go on with this confirmed duty without controversy among the sages. He especially mentioned the word Shuddha, or perfectly correct. For transcendental realization or self-realization, many processes are recommended by various classes of philosophers. Some of these methods are first class, and some of them are second or third class. The first class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus be safe from all sins and their reactions. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. So we see how Parikshit Maharaj, what is his internal disposition? How he is completely detached, even detached from the idea of meeting death. He has no fear. Hare Krishna. Any question or any discussion? If we don't have any discussion, then same nothing will be registered. It will remain in the book. And our head and heart will also remain what it is. There will be no change. Okay, I'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.